Done
Do
people
you
are done.
know that I was having sex with a guy? This was months ago. I'm a top, and I was topping him, and he was like feeling my penis. He was like looking at it, feeling my penis, and he was looking at me and looking at my penis. And then he says to me, he goes, "Is this real? Were you born with this? Like, were you born with this penis, or were you born with a vagina and then you like got a sex change to have a penis?" And
I really love that. That is the fantasy. So yeah,
it's I know, because I don't understand why I would have gotten a penis as a sex change and nothing, and like not shave my head. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but also this is the American educational system. We need to restart. We need to throw this away and start over because something is not working here.
Welcome to Trainees. It's our first episode. I thought we were recording. Okay, you have to remember now. Do you see where it says? Does it show you like recording?
Oh yeah, it's the little thing is blinking. It's
Does it
blinking.
not have a thing at the bottom that says like stop recording?
No, because you created this.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah. So I
Oh,
have to remember to do
okay,
that.
hair. Wait, first of all, your hair is giving fabulosity. It's giving really 80s supermodel, 90s supermodel.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
giving body.
thank
It's giving body,
you.
yada, 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 yay.
You have really great hair too. I just yeah, I can't. I have to keep it straight of some sort.
Yeah, I feel that.
Okay, so trainees, we're writing a film. Or actually, I guess we'll start with like, do you want to introduce yourself? And then I'll introduce myself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Nyla Moon, and I am a trainee. Um, M to F. I'm an M to F trainee, and I'm also a filmmaker. I'm based in New York. Wait, should I be letting the girls know where I live? You know, just in case they want to come after me and try to kill me or something, because you know they be killing the girls. So I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I guess now you know I'm from New York. But yeah, Nyla, New York, filmmaker. What's up?
My name is Quei Tann. I am an actress, a comedian, a writer, a producer, a hooker, a businesswoman. You said yeah. I have done movies and TV shows everywhere from American Horror Story to like a movie with Kevin Bacon called They Slash Them. And the reason that Nyla and I are together is that we actually met through Lena Waith's, what would you call her thing? Was that a fellowship program?
Yeah, it was a fellowship. It was called Hillman Grad Writers Fellowship Program. And so I wrote a television pilot script, and it was about these two trans girls who try to fight back against corruption in their city. They basically, while they're doing sex work, they pretend to be vice cops and, you know, start sticking the Johns up. And yeah, so I met Quay and also Alex is a fabulous actress through there. They introduced all of us, and I've, you know, just been super close and cool with them
Oh,
ever
I had my
since.
first
Especially Quay.
interruption. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
you're back. Okay, so you were saying you also met Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was only acting. I was really only acting at that time. This was in what, 2020 or 2021? 2021 probably, huh?
Yeah, it was 2021.
Yeah, and I got an email from Lena Waith's camp, and they asked if I would be a reader of Nyla's screenplay or teleplay at the Hillman Grads, their final kind of showcase or event at Newhouse in Hollywood. And I was like, of course, I'll do it. They were paying like $100. I didn't know Nyla,
Only a
and I read the
hundred.
script with Alex.
Oh, you cut
And
out,
as we were
babes.
reading it, we were so engrossed in it. It was so compelling. We were so in love with it. And we ended up doing the reading, meeting Nyla. I just was like, this woman is so dynamic. She had a Telfar bag. I didn't even know what a Telfar was in 2021. And now I have, I think, four of them. She she is just extremely fabulous and really smart. And I remember DMing Lena Waithe, and I was like, "Hey, we did the so we do the reading, and then I take Nyla by the hand and I introduce her to, I don't know these people, but I introduce her to all the people that are there, and I'm like, you need to meet this woman because this script is amazing. And I like it. Just I had never, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever read a script by a Black transgender woman, that really reminded me of myself. And so I was like, this needs to be made. This show needs to be made. And I DM'd Lena Waithe and I was like, you've seen this, right? Like, where's the funding? Where are all the things? Because I'm like, this is amazing. And, she was like, yes, I've seen it. And, you know, I, hoped more would have come out of that. And potentially things still can. And I reached out to a couple of other filmmakers. And I don't know, it didn't seem like any of those people that I reached out to on your behalf, it didn't seem like they kind of took you by the hand or
No,
whatever.
girl, they gave bitch, you're a tranny. Wait, am I allowed to speak like that?
Yeah.
Um,
So Nyla, in her own right, you've been making some good strides. You don't need me to, do anything for you. But do you want to say some of the stuff you've been doing?
first of all, don't play with me. I need some help. Whoever's out there, can you help me? I need some help. I need help. It's hard out here. Um, so after Hillman, I really wanted to do comedy at Hillman, but they put me in drama, and which is fine because I do like drama as well. But I had originally applied with a comedy script. And so after Hillman, I did have a few meetings with people, but they kind of were just like, they didn't get the vibes, the vibes. And so I was like working in production as a PA in New York City. Baby, I was standing for them 14-hour days. I was standing. And I also, because of the script I wrote for Hillman, it was really dark. Even though I really loved it, it was really dark. And I think around that time was a lot of disclosure about like trans people revealing that they're trans to their partners. And people were just like, if you are a transsexual girl, then you need to tell everyone who you are.
Out the gate.
There's like, if someone looks at you dead in the eye from 3 blocks away, you need to let that person know you're a transsexual because they want to fuck you. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of the disclosure. So I wrote a script and I shot a pilot, or I shot a short film called How Not to Date While Trans, and it was basically kind of, it was like a dark break the wall fourth comedy, and it just talked about like how trans people, we're kind of like, there's no win-win on dating. It's kind of like we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. I mean, especially since, I mean, which is not publicly known, but a lot of times the people who kill trans women, and particularly black and particularly indigenous trans women, they know that their partners were trans from the get-go. So it's not like this whole, you're a tranny, shoot. It's not, it doesn't give that. So I wrote that and it got into a few festivals, and then I got a grant from Netflix and New Fest. Shout out to them. And then I made another short film, and also How Not to Date, and won grand jury at New Fest. and it won awards at some other festivals. And then this year, my latest film, Dilating for Maximum Results, it won grand jury at Outfest, and then it won grand jury at New Fest. So a bitch is coast to coast. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing recently, you know.
And Outfest is in LA and New Fest is in New York. Interesting because Outfest, that you bring it up, Outfest has like is in shambles right now because they didn't want to unionize and they've like fired. You've kept up with all this, right? They like fired everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's we'll probably have to revisit that. We will have to revisit that because you have such close ties to Outfest that yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that. So that's basically us in a nutshell, of how we met. And then also like I don't know if Nyla said, but she also like has a manager and they're floating her to like big agencies to be repped by, on the lit side, literary side. And she's had general meetings with like A24 and a bunch of stuff like that, which is just so cool. And I know talent and I see talent. And I was just like, okay, if all of these people who I've reached out to don't want to work with Nyla or aren't jumping at the opportunity to work with Nyla, right? Then I need to jump at the opportunity to work with her because I have so many great ideas, but I don't have the experience of like writing, and I to be paired up with someone like Nyla is like really a blessing because she can give shape to a lot of the crazy things that I want to do. And
A lot of you have a lot of great ideals too. So I think it's a perfect marriage of the mind, you
oh,
know.
thank you. So yeah, I've tried to, do a couple of things together, but this last iteration that we've come up with, I feel really, really great about. And I was watching the film Bottoms with my friend Robin and Davi, and at the Alamo here in Los Angeles. And I came away from that film. It's basically Fight Club for lesbians, and it was written by Rachel Sennett and oh my god, I can't remember. Is that her name? Emily, the director. Oh my gosh, I know her name. Emily Singleton, something Singleton, and Miss Singleton. They're young queer women who wrote this film and made this film, and I said, we can do that. We can also be creatives and create and come together. And so and
We're
they've also,
creatives.
yeah, no, for sure we are. But they also created Shiva together, which is Rachel Sennett's first film. She created that with Singleton, the director of Bottoms. So basically I came to Nyla and I made a PowerPoint and I said, we need to make this film called Trainees. And together, and Nyla has always wanted to do a buddy comedy with me, and she's always wanted to do a buddy comedy in the vein of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Yeah.
And so we kind of just took the idea of Trainees and we've just fleshed it out, and now we're on page 36 of our feature film script. And every time we write, we basically just do like a debrief, like how are you, what's going on. Our film is about sex workers, about women who have done sex work, and how sex working skills is applicable to other forms of business. And so I was like, I'm all about franchising and about being a businesswoman. So I was like, okay, we need to start an OnlyFans for our movie. We need to start an OnlyFans We need to start a podcast because if we're gonna talk and if we're going to have these fun conversations, why not make it a part of the business and make it a part of the package and connect with people? So by the time we start fundraising and crowdsourcing and all of these things, we'll already have a connection to, our consumer. I think you're muted. Yeah.
Um, hello, hello from the
Yeah.
other side. Um, I I completely agree. I was a little nervous about OnlyFans because I am a good clean girl. I am a good clean woman. JK, JK, I'm not. Um, but yeah, I the writing process has been going really, it's been really like good, and we've been like writing and developing and really just like yes anding every ideal that we have, like it hasn't been I yet, it hasn't been a moment where we're just like, bitch, that ideal is fucking trash and we're not doing it. So it's been really kind of like restorative to like co-write with someone, and also to co-write with someone like another trans person who kind of like gets it, so you don't have to like explain some shit and then justify why the shit is the shit. You just get to be like, bitch, this is the shit. And she's like, yeah, this is also the shit. And then we continue going.
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay. So, topics for discussion. I was thinking that, or we talked about how we would want trainees to go, our podcast.
Hmm.
So, how would you so now that we've kind of like gotten that out of the way, like our intro and like why we're here, the why, um, how would you kind of want this to go? And we could talk about that. Yeah.
Um, I thought we were gonna like, give very much Katya and Trixie and Natal.
You know what's so funny? I actually don't watch them. I don't watch the Bald and the Beautiful. I used to watch.
Uh-huh.
No, no, I don't. I watch the Black Girls. I used to watch Sibling Rivalry.
I watched both. I love, but you know what?
I stopped watching because let me tell you why. I'll tell you. I stopped watching because of Bob the Drag Queen's comments um and Monet Exchange's comments about
Oh shit, you
interracial
cut out.
dating and race play. They made me they made me very uncomfortable. Are you familiar with what they said?
No, I'm not. What did Bob say? I love Bob.
Yeah, I have very split, feelings on Bob. Of course, I always like love and support. You want to love and support Black people, but I also believe in, accountability.
Okay, you cut out.
So basically, they were both. This is old, see, but they were on their podcast and they were talking about um they a white or black, oh, I forget who it was, a porn star, and the porn star was like, come on my nigger chest, or call me a nigger, or something like that. And Bob and Monet were both like, that's hot, that's really hot. Yes, yes. It was wild. But see, for me, the gag wasn't just that like they found it that hot. And for to her credit, Monet Exchange didn't really speak much on this. Bob really did. And I felt like the things that Bob did to justify his stance was really, really made me look at him in a different way.
Really? Wait, what can you, I mean, I know you can't give it verbatim, but what was like the feel? Like how did they justify that?
So the nutshell was, it was like I said, it was mostly Bob. So Bob did some like Twitter spaces, and everyone was like calling him out, and we are like, why would you say this and like put this out, and you have like these white majority fans? And Bob was like, I'm a consenting adult. And if any consenting adult wants to engage and have their white partner call them a nigger, then that's totally fine. And then he compared it to, you don't think that's right? Well, I don't think it's right that women are called bitches in the bedroom either. That's misogynistic. I was just like, okay, wait a minute. First of all, and he was like, I'm an adult. This is what I do in my adult relationships. And the gag was that it was, and what he kept saying, he was like, what I do in the bedroom is my business. But sexuality has never stayed in the bedroom, but particularly he's talking about sex on a podcast. So
Oh my God.
of course it's not in the bedroom. It's a part of the discussion now. Like you brought this into the discussion. So that really gagged me.
Oh my God. That kind of gags me too. Wow. I mean, because I think, I mean, is it sex? Sometimes sex is like psychosomatic, I guess, maybe the word. It's just like sometimes like, that's like a window into some thoughts, and I always find like race play really, really interesting because especially when it's like a black white dynamic, because I'm just like, I don't know, like I only think okay, I'm probably gonna get like obliterated for this, so I'm sorry. The girls are you gonna jump
It
me?
won't be the first time. This is literally what she said. This is literally what she says in her writing. Me. I'm like, girl, just say it.
Be honest. Be honest. Um, Okay, I feel like and of course I'm speaking about this from a black lens, but I just think that historically there's so much stuff still currently, historically and modernity, there's so much at play in terms of like race play that I feel like it creates a lot of fucked up dynamics that reveal potentially a lot of actual thoughts that people have about race. And I think that sometimes, and particularly like, white people, colonization, dominant race, like I feel like we haven't gotten far enough for them to like no shade, truly understand and respect that there is a line that they can't cross. And I think it just reveals a lot of like inner stuff, I'm just like, I just think that one, black people, our humanity is not fully seen at all. And then two, when you bring that into sex, it kind of harkens back to like, how essentially our family, and we still have this in our consciousness, in our genetics, how black people were used as cattle, as like reproductive factories, and that's what it that's really, I wouldn't do it, and I don't understand the appeal of it, it's kind of like it's kind of almost reverse people who want to have like plantation weddings. Like, it's like, wow, do you like, like it's kind of just like, and I mean, to drag Bob, but not really to drag Bob, but also to drag Bob. Like, did did you think that that was fun? When like our ancestors were being forced to have sex with people. Like, you're fantasizing that, being forced to have sex, and or but essentially a part of that too is also like it's like fantasizing rape culture too, because for someone to call you the N word while having sex, like it comes up and of course when you consent to it as an adult, but also the dynamics of getting sexually assaulted,
Mm.
like, or being extremely disrespected during sex. So I don't know. Like, I mean, but you know what? I'm one of the girls where I do not like you to slap my ass. Like if a boy slaps my ass while we're getting it on, I'm just like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because it just like it gives too much, It gives like, wait, are you fucking me or are you beating me the fuck up? Like, what is going on?
So I
So
think what I think what further like compounds the issue is that, and what people were bringing up is that like you're touting or you're like defending, talking to Bob, he's defending race play and his fetish for race play, his open fetish for race play, and sharing that on a huge platform, while he and Monet and so many other black queens from RuPaul's Drag Race date white men exclusively, and like, and if they date outside of white men, they'll date non-black,
Yeah.
and that really compounds the issue because it's like your desire, one, you already exist in this place of being on RuPaul's Drag Race, which centers people's sexuality in a positive way, right? But within that show centering people's sexuality, there's people are excluded from that. So like it's okay to be gay and to be loved, but you really can only be gay and white and loved. And I just thought his approach to that, I felt like the way he responded to that, the way he responded to having a white partner and people's, you know, feelings about that, feelings about how all of these black queens they look up to only desire white people. I felt like his response to it, which was just another like, this is just who I love and you bitches are mad and lonely. And it's like, no, like, why can't you have a response that is based in like listening, a response that's like, look, this is who I love and there really isn't anything I can do about that, you know? But of course, like, everyone else deserves to be loved, and you know, maybe I do need to look within myself, and I do need to, you know, decolonize my desire. And that's something a gay man told me, a gay man who I love. His name is Griffin Matthews, and we did Dear White People together. And he has a white husband, and he was like, "Yeah, I do have to sit with my black." You know, gay friends. And we do need to talk about why did we all choose white men and what, you know, goes into that. Cause it's not like they don't know other gay black men in entertainment. You know, it's not like Bob and Monet don't know each other. Not that they have to be together, but it's not like there aren't other black people in this space.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah, it's just, you know, I think it's definitely something to not dismiss at the very least.
Yeah, I think also too, I mean, this it's I love Kimberly Crenshaw. I love her concept of intersectionality because I feel like this is kind of like honestly a layered conversation. And I mean, even in terms of like, I mean, let's be real, Bob is a dark-skinned, unambiguous black person, black queer person. And so the other side of that is that Bob, like if Bob wasn't Bob the drag queen, Bob's probably particularly Bob, a lot of Bob's dating options would be really limited to like white people. It reminds me of kind of it was a black young girl named Lip Gloss, and she made this video and she was just like, I want to wear my hair in a shrunken afro, you know, because it's just, and I mean, honestly, it is a lot of work in terms of being black and having 4C hair and keeping up with it. And she was just like, she made the casual joke. She was just like, I'm going to wear my hair in a shrunken afro, and I know I'm only going to attract white dudes. And baby, let me tell you something. The girls were mad. The girls, I mean, black men, they were tussling this 21-year-old girl because they were just like, how fucking dare you? Even to the point where some psychopathic guy, he created a profile of her, like he stole her pictures online. He created a profile and was like dating, you know, he was like dating on Tinder as her to prove to her that black men like her. And I think that's one side of the racial dynamic.
Delusional,
Crazy.
delusional,
That's
delusional.
delusional. That's one aspect of it because there is a huge colorism thing, and especially in the femme as like a black woman and also as like a black queer person, it limits your perspective. But and I will say that you sometimes yes, that is true. Yes, that is really valid. But sometimes you do have to cognitively, like, and actively think about who you do date and what that really means. And particularly, I like when Black Lives Matter was happening during COVID, I was dating this like white guy. And let me tell you something. Like we had never really, I mean, we talked about race. He knew that I'm black. Like I'm like yes, I'm an educated girly, she has a master's degree. But I love
Learn it, black bitch.
I'm a learn it blackfish. And but I really love the flexibility, the color, and just the versatility of speaking in AAVE. Like I really appreciate that. And if you know me, if you're one of my good Judies, like okay, if you meet me and I'm talking to you like, "Hi guys, my name is Nyla Moon and yeah, it's nice to meet you." But if you don't know me, you'll get that Nyla. But if you're one of my good Judies, you'll get Miss Thing. Ooh, ooh. I get. You'll get all of that. You will get all of that. And I personally love speaking like that because it adds just so much flavor.
I think that's gay VE, honey.
That's gay gay VE. I mean, I be doing the I be. I do. I will give you a fuck out of here. I'll give you a gay gay VE, a AAVE. I do. I love it. I love the coloring. Sue me. So this partner, he was used like we were partners. So, he was used to me giving it really, and like we were in Harlem, so he was used to me giving it really bangy. Even though I'm not really bangy, but vocally I'm a bangy girl. And secretly I am bangy because I'm from Harlem. But when Black Lives Matter happened, it was really a huge divide in our relationship
Wow.
because she's a learned black bitch. So I was just like, oh no no no, we need to watch this documentary. Oh no no no, you need to read this article. Oh no no no, here's this scholarly paper. Oh no no no, this is what these people are saying. And he didn't know anything about history. Like he literally didn't know. Like because we were scrapping, and I was like, so when could black people vote in America? And he was like, I don't know, Nyla. And I was like, do you know it was in 1965 or 68? Don't quote me on the date. But we were scrapping about that because he didn't really know historical facts like that and how that related to the current black experience. And so from that dating experience, it made me really cognizant of who I dated because I know that even though I show up as this, as like a black person, as like someone who loves AAVE, gay AVE, um, I still will attract a partner who likes me for Nyla but doesn't understand the fullness of me. And I think that's part of the crux of it. But no shade. I mean, to end my tirade, but no shade. No white man has ever called me an N-word while we're doing it. No, ma'am. No ham and no turkey. I mean, it's complicated, but also stand up. Stand
Yeah.
up. It gives that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely so, oh my God, where do I want to go? So you brought up Kimberly Crenshaw. I'll bring up Kimberly Nicole Foster, who has the For Harriet YouTube channel.
Love her. Love her.
She says that who you date is political. Who you date is a reflection of your values. It's kind of like who you associate yourself with. Birds of a feather flock together. And so, yeah, I think that, it is important if I mean, obviously, like, the current dating landscape is so messy. You have situationships, you have people that you're just hooking up with, so I think that these things are different, but I think being in a relationship with someone, I would definitely want someone who I have some shared values with, and things that have to do with race, liberation, some of my core values. Those things are really important to me. But at the same time, I know people who are liberal and are in relationships with conservatives, so
Oh, they must like
everyone
their bills
is
paid. That's
everyone
what they
is
like.
different, and
They don't like them. They like their
everyone's just
beige
trying to
bill.
figure it out.
Yeah.
um what I will also add to this is this is so insane. But I do feel, without Bob being so dismissive, I do feel as though consenting adults, I have not done this, but I feel like consenting adults, if they want to engage in race play, that is their business. But I think you have to be responsible. And I think you have to understand that when you're putting that online, when you're selling it, when you're commodifying it, when you're disseminating it, I think that it just like, I think it like has the ability to be extremely harmful. Even when we're talking about, and the reason I say that is because even when we talk about like slave movies, there are so many Black people who don't want to see slave movies anymore. And that has nothing to do with sex, but everything to do with make believe and, you know, so like in acting, right? Like, you know, it's all of it's fabricated. But do we really want to see more 12 Years a Slave? Do we really want to see more Black torture, you know, porn? No. So I think that there is a duty to be responsible within your fetishes. What I did want to bring up is I texted you something the other night. You know what it is. I put in my Grindr profile, and I think it's we will have to talk about both of us being on Grindr because I'm pre-op and I'm not pre-op, I'm non-op, and you have one of these.
Yeah,
Um
yummy, it's galore.
per So, but we're both on Grindr, and I put in my bio, I put the Palestinian flag, and I put in my, I guess I put in my head, not, is it your screen name? I put a Palestinian flag, and then in my bio, I put Free Palestine. The reason I did that is because I don't want to have sex with someone who believes in genocide. So that's the reason that I did that. I didn't do it for any other reason. And people have messaged me all types of crazy stuff. Someone messaged me the other day. They were like, they would throw you down the stairs in Palestine. And I'm like, they don't kill trannies here in LA. They don't kill trainees in New York. I mean, they only do it in the Middle East. I don't know about that. So, but anyway, a guy had messaged me, and he was like, I want to, you know, hook up with you. And I was like, it's not really giving hook up with me, but if you have a coin, you know, maybe we can discuss something. You know, we're still dealing with the ramifications of the strike. So I need a coin. And he was like, oh, and I know nothing about his background. He was like, oh, he said, I thought maybe, he was like, no, I don't, you know, I don't have any money for you, but I thought maybe you would want to fuck a Jewish boy for revenge.
Not
These men are
uh-uh.
not serious. These men are not serious.
I mean, no shade. Oof, girl, that is a key.
I can't. I'm like, you can't be serious. Like, I I don't want to be involved. That's the other thing. It's like I'm not involved in your race play. Like, don't bring race play here to me or whatever, you know, like, don't bring that here. Like, what? I just, the men are doing a lot. They're not serious. And yeah, I don't want to be, you know, conservative, or I don't want to, you know, what is it, kink shame, but I'm not here for that. It's like don't involve me in that, please. You're muted. Hmm.
You know, I mean, as someone who has like engaged in sex work because of survival, you know, like, and of course, I just want to clarify there's girls who engage in sex work because of like, you know, because sex work is a job, you know, and it's a viable career. People make careers of being sex workers. But as someone who has engaged in sex work as like for survival, it kind of has made me really pruder, you know, into like into sexual relationships where I'm just like, oof, I don't want to do that, and I won't do this. It makes me, it kind of like makes me look at sex and engage in sex in a different way, which is ironic because I am on Grindr. But I just find that like,
Why are you on? That's an interesting question. Why are you on Grinder? You have a sex change. You have a cat. You are cis assuming. People assume that you're cisgender. Why be on Grinder? Why not be on Tinder? Why not be on Bumble? Why not be on something that where why not be on something to where, because I mean on Grinder it's just pure sex. And okay, yeah, go ahead. I need to know why you're on Grinder.
I mean, one, because dating is hard and it's also really fucking ghetto out here. And I just think that sometimes Grindr is just easy to like meet people because like even on Tinder, like there needs to be a queer app just for dating. Like if you know one, hit it up. Or men who
And
are
don't say fucking Tammy, bitch. Don't say, and whoever responds, don't say fucking Tammy. That site is ridiculous.
that site is ridiculous. The girls are on there, and it doesn't work really. I mean, it's just not a good app. But I feel like Grinder, of course, I do get a lot of, eggplants, just eggplant, 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 butthole. That's my
Okay, yeah.
inbox. It's eggplant, 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 butthole, 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 eggplant, eggplant, eggplant. Um, so that's what it gives. And I mean, even though I say post op, sometimes the boys don't know what post op is either. Um,
Holler.
our education system, we have done people a disservice. We have
Do
done people
you
a
know that I was having sex with a guy? This was months ago. I was having sex with him, and I'm a top, and I was topping him, or before I started topping him, or whatever. And he was like feeling my penis. He was like looking at it, feeling my penis, and he was looking at me and looking at my penis. And then he says to me, he goes, "Is this real? Were you born with this? Like, were you born with this penis, or were you born with a vagina and then you like got a sex change to have a penis?" And
I really love that. That is the fantasy. So yeah,
it's I know, because I don't understand why I would have gotten a penis as a sex change and nothing, and like not shave my head. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but also this is the American educational system. We need to restart. We need to throw this away and start over because something is not working here. Um, but okay, so why am I on Grindr? It's just easier, honestly. Like what I've found on Grindr is that you see a lot of men who, of course, they're just looking for a hookup, but not all of them are looking for a hookup, but most of them are looking for a hookup. But it's just easier. Like you see a lot of men, like a lot of men who are interested in trans women are on Grindr and they'll reach out to you on Grindr and it's a little more seamless than like on Tinder. Like I don't know. I don't which personally I don't like to tell men on the first date that I'm trans if I meet them in the wild or on not a queer dating app because it just puts so much pressure and it puts a lot for me to reveal who I am as a person to them. And I know the girls are y'all gonna jump me for this, but like sometimes a girl just wants to go and have like a coffee, a beer, just have a like an initial human interaction, a meet cute, and then we can get into the messy side of it because then like it becomes a lot. So sometimes so I do have Tinder and I use Tinder just to like, like and Tinder's also a hookup app, but I also just like to, meet people and talk to them and get a feel of who they are as a person before I'm just like, hey, did you know I started hormones at 15 years old and that's why I look like a woman? And when I was 20 years old, I got a vagina. And then the vagina, it may be a little different, but I've had no complaints thus far. And my family kind of accepts me or not. And yes, I did engage in sex work and was homeless, but now I have a master's degree and I'm a filmmaker. Like I don't know. Sometimes I just want to be a person and I just want to initially vibe with a person without having to like to like for you to feel bad for me, for you to, it's either A, I'm judging you because you're a man, danger, danger, you're a man, or it's like, I'm I'm a liberal, so I want to hear your story. I want to know how you got here, so I can tell people I went on a date with a trans woman. Nothing happened, but I did it. So Grinder, it kind of just like so Tinder is just so I can just like meet people and just keep it casual and have a drink. And then Grinder, it's just easier because you get over the first time being around a trans woman experience, which is like, I'm just going for comfortability basically. I want to vibe with you on Tinder before I tell you. And on Grinder, you've met a trans woman before 9 out of 10 times. That's why you're here. And and you're just a little more comfortable. I just don't like explaining. I just want to be easy. I just want to smoke a blunt, maybe have some coffee, like I just want it to be relaxed. Cause like there because trans people are such a political, like our existence is a political existence. And it's a lot of explaining, a lot of politicking, a lot of like honestly, I spent my early fucking 20s like literally in relationships, like in situationships with men where it would be like, I'm liberal and I know gay people, so we're gonna be friends, Nyla. And we may fuck, but we can't be together because, you know. So I've done that and I've worked really hard. I've tried to convince, I've tried to explain, I've tried to do all that stuff, and now I'm just like, I just want it easy for me, baby.
And liberalism, I fucking hate liberals. I mean, it's honestly just it's a fake political identity. Honestly,
Oh,
it's amorphous. You're pro queer. Like liberals are like pro queer, but also pro genocide. Like it's not a real thing. Like
yeah.
it's not like it's so it just it's very like they just have no real convictions to me. I think they're just kind of like, yeah, like I'm like anti, like I don't believe in racism, but honestly, like let's fund the police and let's have a robot, you know what I mean? It's like, wait, what? It just seems really fake and phony to me. But anyway, and we see that in our interpersonal experiences with men as well.
Yeah, I mean, okay, side conversation, but also a huge topic. What really, I mean, I guess I would have described myself as a liberal until recently, and of course it's been about the conflict that's been going on in Palestine, hashtag free Palestine, call your representatives, demand a forever ceasefire because people are dying and we are funding that as
Not
America.
them framing a humanitarian pause as a ceasefire. They're sick as fuck. That is sick.
They girl that
Not
and then
them understanding that we know what a humanitarian pause is and that you're trying to use this language and then say, actually, it's a ceasefire now. Like, that's sick. That is sick.
I mean, I what I tell a lot of people about this current situation, I'm like, before when a lot of like political stuff was happening, we were young. We didn't understand the actual, financial ramifications. And actually, not only the financial ramifications, because I don't want to make it just about the financial ramifications, but it's a little dark to realize that your tax dollars are funding, children getting murdered.
Every
You
dollar
know,
you spend and make. Yeah.
people getting displaced. Like that was kind of like a, I mean, and of course, again, like I like this is the first actual conflict that we have been in as an adult, where it's been like a whole mobilization. So that's been a little shocking to realize that people who you've looked up to be beacons of democracy, freedom, liberal politics have like let you down. One, and also a lot of like liberal news outlets too, like they've really let you down. And I mean, and this kind of like moves the conversation away from of Palestine, and of course we can continue this conversation about Palestine. But the first way that it really hit me, I was such a fan of TYT, and oof, when Anna sorry,
Kasparian.
Kasparian, sorry, homegirl, I slayed your name. Um, and Cenk, when they basically
Jane.
said,
Yeah.
oh, Cenk, is that how you say it?
Hmm.
Oh, okay, Cenk. Um, when a few months ago, basically they were just like, fuck trans people, like the liberals need to stop focusing on the trans people. That is a losing political movement. We're losing everything else because of like, we're hanging on to this trans agenda. That kind of gagged me because like a lot,
Same.
girl, a lot of my liberal politics came into place watching
From them.
from them, like watching TYT when they were I mean, they're still on YouTube, but when people were resharing their stuff on Facebook, when the girls were still on Facebook like that. And that kind of
Mm.
really shifted it. I was just like, oh, so fuck my drag, right? I was just like, whoa. I was just like, oh, so y'all really don't fuck with the kids. Y'all really don't fuck with the kids. And that kind of like shifted. I was like, oh, so unless we are a part of the dominant agenda, we all are pawns that can and will be sacrificed
Yeah.
for the quote unquote bigger picture. And of course that's what we're seeing now with Arab
Yeah.
Americans. And I love that Arab Americans are really like mobilizing against Joe Biden, and what's actually happening to the Palestinian people, because no shade, Joe Biden said fuck them girls. The way
Yeah.
TYT, they said fuck them girls to trans women.
Yeah.
And that that really made me believe that, wow, this two-party system, it isn't really good. It isn't really good versus evil, quote unquote, like that's how it was framed. It was just like, if you were a liberal, you believed in good and justice and liberty and
Mhm.
people having rights and acceptance. And the Republicans, what they've become now, they've believe in like, you know, lack of rights and like lack of autonomy and like only for the very rich. But now you see they're on the same coin, and that's kind of a gag.
Yeah, so a little context on what happened with TYT is that it's actually when I first started doing comedy, a couple months ago, they really ran with this incendiary story. And there's always some um, polarizing story that comes out about transness, not necessarily about trans people. And there was this think tank group. It was one group in the UK that no one had heard of. And they did cervical cancer screenings and serve us for your cervix. And I believe that's for only people, a cervix is if you're assigned female at birth. And they were saying that when we're doing these sorts of things that have to do with the vulva and the vagina and all of that, instead of calling it a vagina for our non-binary and trans men patients, we can call it a bonus hole. And of course, because everyone like has to make everything about them, they said, "Oh, so we can no longer call our vaginas bonus. We can no longer call our vaginas vaginas. We have to now call them bonus holes." No, that is not what they were saying. They were saying that they were going to call certain people who are trans, they were going to call their body parts bonus holes or front holes, and that was only going to be used for them. But also, this is one group. This is one little group of people, one little thing that was going on in the UK that no one had knew about. So TYT picks up this story Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur had been saying, this have been, talking about trans people in sports and saying how, it's a losing issue. And, Bill Maher has said things like that. But Anna Kasparian took that story and she really made a big stink about it. She was like, my body, like I have a vagina, I was born with a vagina, and I shouldn't have to call it something different because that makes you feel more comfortable. And that is not what people were saying. And that is something that many people who, and I'm now, because I see how Zionist silence people that they don't agree with, I'm now reticent to call people transphobic. So I'm not going to call Anna Kasparian transphobic. I'm just going to say that she seemed to have a position that was not thoughtful and was a little reckless. And it showed me as a trans person that maybe we're not aligned on these issues. And I from then on, I was like, this is not someone that I agree with. This is not a company I want to support. But yeah, and so I just kind of stepped away. But again, of course, I am happy, and I think I actually learned about. I want to say I first learned about Palestine either through TYT or through Mark Lamont Hill, because I remember finding out, I think they ran a story back in, I want to say 2015. I think they ran a story about Mark Lamont Hill being blacklisted from CNN. That's why he works with Al Jazeera now. And I'm glad that they supported him, when he supported, Arab Americans, because he faced, that backlash. And I'm happy to see him doing well, because he was on CNN and he was in the mainstream American media. And now he works in black news media. He works with the Griot and he works with Al Jazeera. So it is like I have like dipped back into TYT's content to kind of see what they're talking about when it comes to Palestine, but it's definitely not something that I subscribe to. I don't subscribe to their channel. Yeah.
Speaking of, I understand your reticence about like calling someone a transphobe, but I just want to preface like a little interesting, I guess, a comment on that is I find it really interesting that, and you find this all the time, like historically speaking, when people don't have language to call a thing, it really it obscures what's happening. It confuses people, and it makes people actually doubt whether something is specifically what they're experiencing. And I think a lot of that now, like not calling stuff what they are, is a part of white supremacy, and is a part of cis normality. Not calling you out, because this is a general thing now where a lot of people are just like, they're just like, oh, I don't want to call, this person racist, or this person transphobic, or this person a misogynist. But when we don't name these things, they lose power, and it dilutes what the actual experience was. Because here's the thing. Anna Kasparian is an educated, really brilliant, nuanced geopolitical commentator, and she woke her ass up and got on her show and chose transphobia. That's purely what it was. Because let's be real, Anna, do do when has anyone ever said you had a bonus hole? When has anyone ever looked you dead in your motherfucking eye and thought that you were a non-binary person? Thought that that's the language that you wanted. So what was the reason for you to have this, this to go on this tangent of, I don't want a bonus hole. I had a vagina. This is a vagina. I don't know where Anna lives, but if you live, no shade, if you live in like even like the liberal filter bubbles of LA and New York City, most people know what a non-binary person is. And also, most non-binary people usually let you know who they are because they have to when they enter spaces. So no one has ever said that to you. No one has ever said that to any of the women who you have ever probably been around, who you were in community with in this liberal filter bubble. So a part of me is like, where did that come from?
I mean, it came from
It
her
came from
wanting to make
transphobia.
content. It came from,
Huh?
yeah. I mean, it came from her wanting to make content. She saw a headline and she was like, I have an angle. I think, I hear you. I think at the very least, at least if I'm going to say that someone is transphobic or someone is racist, I'm going to list the reasons why. I just think that like I have learned that through these charges of anti-Semitism from that's come from Zionist when I have spoken in support of Palestine.
Yeah,
I have seen how that has shut down and silenced voices and has gotten like
absolutely.
and has removed people from their jobs and their positions. And so it has just made me re-examine the way that I think about things, or the way that I communicate, because you know I want, I'm like, and I've noticed, a lot people have been really obsessed with like silencing speech, and like I don't need to silence anyone's speech. I just need to amplify mine.
I
Um,
mean, I completely agree. But here's the thing though. Who does that benefit? When we don't, because I love a definition. I love to understand something contextually. And I like even the charges of anti-Semitism, like when you really define what that is, and then you examine what you've done, then that's not anti-Semitic. However, when you look at what Anna did was transphobic. And I'm not saying Anna needs to be locked in the transphobe prison for 10 million gajillion years till she learns her lesson. I'm saying that sometimes we have to call out what something actually is.
Gotta call a spade a spade.
You gotta call a spade a spade, so behaviors can be corrected. Like people need to be corrected. And I mean, this may be a bad example, but like, and Quay, you probably can relate to this, being a tall trans woman also, but like when you're a tall trans woman, wait, what? What? Wait, sorry, oh, sorry. But when you're a tall trans woman, and people are just like, you're a model. And a lot of or just a tall woman in general, when you're a tall woman in general and you're skinny, people label you as a model. And a part of that, especially as a teenager, because of the influx of America's Next Top Model and that dream deferred that was. I mean, you made it on Babes, but a lot of girls didn't make it onto America's Next Top Model, but it became a part of their identity, to be skinny. And a lot of people culturally were engaging in fat phobia. We were fat phobic as a culture. We like if you just look at media a few years ago, just casual fat phobia, just really casual, everyday, ha ha ha. You're fat and you should feel bad. And I'm making a joke to remind you that you're fat. One thing that I really learned was having friends who are fat people, and the ways that I have engaged in fat phobia to really correct that behavior. And that's all I'm saying. Like if I wasn't called out for being told like, "Hey, Nyla, that's fat phobic and that hurts," I would it wouldn't have shifted my mind, about how I feel about that and how I engage with that and what and the actual damage that does to people.
I I guess I mean I hear you. I guess like if it was another situation to where like maybe someone was just not a media figure and they were like, I saw this news story that's and maybe their media literacy isn't up to, where Anna's is, and they could say, and they say, well, they're saying that now all vaginas are going to be called bonus holes. I have an issue with that. I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want to stop the conversation by saying you're transphobic. I wouldn't want to just shut them down. I would want to continue the conversation. And then I think another piece about the Anna Kasparian situation is to understand that she was associating herself with like known transphobic people.
Yeah.
I
Also,
forget. Yeah, I forget exactly who it is. I don't know if it was Tim Pool or maybe she doesn't get along with Tim Pool, but there was someone that Hassan was like, she's associated with this she's like listing this, she's like citing this person who is known to be extremely transphobic. So it was definitely, it was interesting. And then just to hear certain things over the years, like I've heard like little germs of like, these anti-trans sentiments, or these that I was like, oh, that doesn't really vibe with me. I do want to circle back, because we're about to close out pretty soon, but I do want to circle back to why I am on Grindr, which I think it's so interesting that you're on Grindr, because I would think, in my mind, right, I would think that when you have the sex change, or people call it the gender confirmation surgery. I'm an old school girl. I call it a sex change, even though
we
I
have a
don't.
swim scene with the sex change.
This is why I love you, because I'm like, and do you call yourself a transsexual too?
I know I do call myself a transsexual because like I'm a transsexual.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of people do not like those terms. They don't like the term sex. A lot of new generation, either trans people or allies, right? They're like, don't call yourself trace. They get on trace for that. Like, don't call yourself a transsexual, or and don't say sex change. So anyway, I would always think that when you get a sex change, or if you have a sex change, that you would want to be delivered from the filth that is these fucking tranny chasers on Grindr, and you can just like be with men who aren't going to be so sex focused, fetish focused, and who wants to like, who potentially is maybe looking for an actual connection. So that's why I was like, it always throws me for a loop. I'm like, why the fuck are you on here? And then on the other hand, I also know that like when you're on Grindr, and like you said, a lot of the guys think you're pre-op, even if they're not bottoms, they still like a woman with a penis, at least from
Yeah.
my understanding.
I
Correct me
mean,
if I'm wrong.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. A lot of guys still like, it's about the mouthfeel for them, the mouthfeel. Shout out to ContraPoints. It's about the mouthfeel. Um, but truly, I want to be where the tranny chasers are.
You love it.
But here's the thing, though. I feel like one, dating is hard just in general, and sometimes I want to be around someone who just gets it, And I feel like a lot, I don't know. I feel like a lot, like when guys are on Tinder, they're not looking for trans women in specifically, like they're not looking to like hang out with them at all. They're not. They're just looking for cis women, even romantically, because you know, this is the first generation of trans women who are getting old, So I think once this generation of trans women gets old, and guys are just like, oh wait, actually I can grow old with a trans woman. That's a thing. Um, I think it'll get better, but honestly, I just think it's really hard out here. We're all fighting for our fucking lives. Yes, it's hard on both apps, but it's just sometimes just easier, just to be like, you know, hey, tranny chasers over here. If you're looking for a post op, I'm one. It's easier to it's easier to give that, and yeah, it's just easier for me.
Interesting.
Um
That's so interesting.
but again, some men don't read, so because we're all grown sexual beings. And I put post-operative transsexual in my profile. And sometimes when the boys come over, and the boys want to have, the boys kind of gag, because they're just like, oh, what's that? What's that? Wait, where's it at? What's that? you know, they gag a little bit, and sometimes they have to really get
Do
into
they
it.
ask you if you are a cis woman?
Sometimes they do. They come to me like, "Wait, are you a cis woman?" And I'm like, "No." And then sometimes, sometimes they're really disappointed, and I'm just like,
Oh
"Wait, but
no.
they are disappointed because baby, educate the American education system has failed us all." And
Oh.
sometimes, sometimes I'm just like, "But are you with cis women?" And then they're just like, "Yeah, I date cis women. I have a girlfriend." And I'm like, but you know what? It's a session, and sometimes the girls, the girls need to get what they need to get out of the session.
Out of
So
session.
it's a session, and so what happens is, they have to adjust, and then they're just like, "Oh, can we have anal sex?" And I'm just like, "How dare you? How dare you? I have a full vagina." Maybe not.
Do you ever say yes and do anal?
Ugh, it depends. It depends. I mean, I really don't.
Nyla!
But okay, here's the thing, and this is TMI. Oh, this thing. The girls are gonna have me online saying this. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is what they don't tell you. This is what they don't tell you. So there is a thin like line of skin between the vagina and the anus.
Hmm.
So and as trans women, we still have our prostates. Hello, hello, can we talk? And sometimes, I mean, it feels a little bit the same, sometimes, I mean, of course the vaginas are better because you don't have to prep, you don't have to do anything. It's ready to go, and you're not gagging after. But I mean, honestly, I really don't like anal sex. Like, I have to really, like, really be into it to be like, okay, wait, hit me up in the front first, don't play with me. Hit me up in the front, and then we'll talk about we'll we'll talk about the back. But sometimes I will play depending on how the session is. But sometimes, the Gorilla Grip 3000, hey sis guys, if you're looking for some tight snatch, hit up a trans woman, because she's the Gorilla Grip 3000. If you don't, some girls, if you don't keep her open, she will close on you. And sometimes that's all they need. They need a good 2 pumps of that, and they forget about the back.
2 pumps of that and they forget about the bag.
And they forget about the back.
Where the money at? So,
Period.
so, wow. Okay. Yeah, no. Me, if I had a pussy, like I said, I won't be getting one, but if I had one, there's no way, baby. You have to be in this kitty, like all that
Yeah.
gay shit, all that anal sex, that shit, that's in the past. Like if and in my mind, but obviously, like you're saying, it's different. Like if when you have it, it feels. You're saying it feels similar, and there's a thin line. There's a thin line between the prostate, between love and prostate. So for me, why I am on Grindr is simply for, I wouldn't say expediency that came to mind, but it's not expediency. It's that when I meet men in my day-to-day life, just walking down the street, I I'm really short with men that I meet in the day-to-day, because my experience has been not even 9 times out of 10, like 9.9 times out of 10, a guy has been attracted to me. He's assumed that I'm cisgender, and at the very least, assumed that I had bottom surgery. And once he finds out that I'm trans, not only do I not have bottom surgery, but I'm a top. Not only is there really nothing to talk about or to go further from there, but also they can get real aggy. They can get real violent. They can get just real funny, and I don't have the time to like give my number to somebody and do that whole rigmarole and come out to them again and again and again. Like, I just don't have the time for that. So similar to you, Nyla, I go on Grindr versus any other app or meeting guys in real life because they are coming to that app for trans women, and there are guys coming to the app for trans women who are tops. And so that's why I'm on Grindr. And the only thing I don't like about Grindr is that they are just so sex minded. And for me, if you're going to be that sex minded, I have to get paid. Like, if you're really not going to try to get to know me at all, like, if you're not going to try to get to know me at all, I'm going to need you to give me something. Like, if you're not going to give me time and attention and, and companionship, I'm going to need a coin. Like, I'm not just going to need some sex. Yeah, I'm going to need a donation. Like, I mean, something like you're not, because my thing is, you're not just going to use my body. Like, that's not what we're doing here. Like, I'm going to need something. And I like it that way because, that keeps me nice and, virginal. Keeps me nice and safe as well. I think it's nice to have some discernment and to have some, for lack of a better term, not to be, to slut shame, but I think it's nice to have some standards to, to not, to have some boundaries, some parameters of what you're willing to do and what you're willing not to do. But yeah, that's why I like it, because I feel like the guys who are into women like me are on Grindr. And the guys who are sexually compatible with me, I find that they're on Grindr. Now, that Tammy app, that is the worst app ever. And the reason why it is the worst app ever is because it allows everyone from all around the world to message you. I literally, when I've had Tammy, I've had 500 messages at one time. There's no way I can scroll through them. And when I do scroll through them, and it sounds like a great thing, like, oh my God, I have 500 messages. Actually, no, because I'm not able to connect with anyone because everyone is messaging me whoever has signed up on the app. And so it's a no-go for me. But yeah.
But you're not trying to be on 90 Day Fiance, girl. That may be the next move. Find you a man on Tammy, get on 90 Day Fiance, and turn it.
No, that's also the thing. Girl, that's the thing I love about Grindr as well, is that Grindr is really majority of the time is going to serve you people, and people are going to reach out to you who are in your vicinity. With trans, It's a little different. They can, I have had people reach out to me who are in other countries, but that's few and far between. It's typically people that are in my area, no more than like 30 miles away, something that's doable and feasible. So yeah, so that's why I'm on there.
I just feel like there's no like actual dating app that is just for the girls. There's no actual like we just always get the short end of the stick, and it's rough out here, girl.
It's okay. Rough. So we have to go right, because Nyla is going to go try to run off and go to Muay Thai. So we have to write quick. So anyway, that was the first episode of Trainees. And we're going to have we got to have like some like, I think it's called, we have to have some sections. Like, I want to have like Learn It Black Bitch. I want that to be a section. And then I want like a political, Learn It Black Bitch will be political. I want like a pop culture segment and then a sex segment. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. But you know what? I think, are we still recording? Oh, girls recording. Yeah, I think we need to do it, but I think we need to lean more into it.
Into what?
Into becoming a podcast bros.
What? We just started. What else do we need to do?
I mean, I think we can, I think it'll be good. I think we did good. This was a great first episode, but I'm gonna come better, and we're just like this. I think we should be like Jon Stewart, or not Jon Stewart, Oliver, the cute white man from The British Guy.
John Oliver.
John Oliver. I was gonna say.
You want to talk about niche political issues?
No, but I think we should give like very much last week tonight. Like where we like let's send each other news articles or like, you know, pop culture moments that we want to talk about, and then we'll like pick the we'll pick the top 3 and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Okay. All right. Well, Trainees episode 1. That's a wrap.